Hello students, once again a very warm welcome to Misostudy session. Now as you can see behind me, this is question number 173 which we have already discussed in previous session. Now it's time for the question number 174, so please have a look. One of the world poisonous fish toxin is released by. So in this case the four options which are given are clownfish, swordfish, eelfish and pufferfish. So in this case the correct answer is a pufferfish. So this pufferfish actually produces tetrodotoxin and this tetrodotoxin is highly poisonous. Highly poisonous, right? Is it fine? So this was a direct question, no need as such explanation. So can we move further? Let's talk about the next question, question number 175. So where's the duster? Just a second. So read this question by the time that we prepare this board for you. Dust, oolong and the brick are the varieties of. So these are the varieties of tea, right? So when we talk about tea, tea is a very famous beverage of our country. And tea, the various varieties they are available, actually they differ from one another in the process of, you can say the whole processing is completely different. So that is a way we give them a specific name, right? So in this case, this is also a direct question, 75. So as you can see, the next question is of assertion reason type. The four options they will be giving you, and out of these four options you have to choose one, and before this 20 questions you will be having such kind of explanation where the four options you have to tick according to this. If both assertion and reason is correct and reason is the correct explanation of assertion, we will go for an option A. If a reason is there and reason is correct but it is not a correct explanation, we will go for an option B. Similarly, if reason is right but reason is wrong but assertion is right, we'll go for an option C. If both are wrong, the assertion and reason both are wrong, we'll go for an option D. So let's move on to the next question, question number 176. There are 34 biodiversity hotspot in world. Is it right or wrong? Yes, this is absolutely right. High level of species richness is a criteria for selection of a biodiversity hotspot. So biodiversity hotspot, that means they are talking about it has a maximum species richness. So this is the only criteria by which we can select that, okay, this particular place is a hotspot, or there are certain other criteria as well. Yes, there are certain other criteria as well. So this option is right, but this is not at all a correct explanation. If it is not a correct explanation, normally we go for an option B. This is also right, this is also. Now a question arises, what are the different other criteria or what are the other different ways with which we actually determine that these are the 34 hotspot. Let's talk about it. Right? Reasons for hotspot. Right. The first, you know, that is a high degree of species richness. Of species richness. Right. Large number of population, or you can say degree of endemism. Right. This you can explain by high amount of biodiversity. Right. The third point is they have degree of threat. Degree of threat to, you can say, fragmentation, and habitat loss, right? So the fourth point is degree of exploitation. Degree of exploitation. Now listen very carefully. The first is it should have a high degree of species richness. That means it should have a high biodiversity. Second is it's a degree of endemism. They are restricted to those areas only. Degree of a threat to the fragmentation, that means their houses, or you can say their actual habitats, they are fragmented and they are lost because of the construction of the roads, etc. So chances that they can also affect it. So the degree of exploitation. So depending upon that, these are the different reasons why we consider that this is a particular hotspot. So if I ask you one question, can you name one hotspot? Okay, the correct answer is a Western Ghat, right? Is it fine? So as the assertion is right and the reason is also right and it's not a correct explanation, we will go for which option? B. Let's move on to the next question, question number 177. Cattle ranches are known to cause acute greenhouse effect. This is because of option mechanized milking practices, methanogenic bacteria in ruminants. I got my answer. This is also a direct question, we all know about it. The methanogenic, they produce methane, and which is a greenhouse gas. So in this case the option B is correct, right? 177, answer B correct. Let's move on to the next question. Question next is of assertion reason type again. So A, B, C, D, the 4 options will be given. Now let's talk about question number 178. Again, assertion is cimetidine is an antacid drug. Is it right or wrong? This is absolutely right. Now cimetidine promotes the interaction of histamines with the receptor of stomach wall. Imagine a situation when these cimetidine, when it interact, you can say it stimulates the interaction of the histamine with the receptor of stomach wall, it is quite obvious that they will start causing or you can say there will be more production of the acid, which will cause a discomfort, right? There will be so many problems, you all are acquainted with very common problem we have. So actually it doesn't promote it, rather than it inhibit. So cimetidine inhibit interaction of histamine with the receptor of stomach wall. Right? Is it fine? So hope this was some random question, so I thought to include in this session. So these kind of random questions sometimes examiner they do ask. So it's just that some things are there in our life on which we normally think about it, and these are the antacid which we all know. So thing is that one has to be very careful, just think in a scientific manner. Whatever drugs we use, for example the paracetamol we use, what is the mode of action, at least you can learn about it. This is one thing which I am talking about, but it's not the case. These are the one or two such type of questions which can be asked in your exam. So rather than focusing on such type of question, try to focus on your chapter only. That will be more beneficial for you rather than hunting for such type of different questions. Yes, sometimes they do ask one or two such type of questions, so don't bother about it. If you know the answer, that is well and good. If you don't know the answer, just skip it. Instead of writing a wrong answer, you will get a negative mark. Don't do that. So better if such type of questions come, you can avoid also. Otherwise, this was quite a simple type, because with the help, you know the mode of action of histamines, right? That has an inflammatory activity. So what it will do, it will stimulate it, it will suppress it. It will normally suppress it because we don't want anti-inflammatory actions. So in that case, so hope you got your answer, that if this one is correct and this one is incorrect, which option you will go for? C. Right? So, let's move on to the next question again. Now, let's talk about the last chapter of your syllabus, that is environmental issues. Now, let me give you a brief introduction of this chapter. This chapter, environmental issues, in which there are so many issues we know about our environment. Pollution is there, other, you can say, the different cycles we know, that water cycle is there, like different sedimentary cycles are there. So many issues are associated with our environment, pollution, different type of pollutions, etc. and etc. And this is that chapter which I personally feel the students, they always have an idea about. So, just recall everything, just go through your NCERT, read it once, and in this chapter the sentence and everything is very easy in NCERT. So, please focus on NCERT for this chapter, especially for this chapter, right? No as such detailed question they ask about, it's just that certain days you need to remember. That what do you mean by Earth Days, where actually like when your Earth Day is celebrated, what do you mean by the Water Days, sort of these type of question, what is a World's Pollution Day. So, these questions at least you should have an idea about. So, what else you can do is try to read a newspaper daily. So, when I was at your age, I used to have my scrapbook. So, what this scrapbook is all about, it's not about my friends, it's not about anything, it's all about all these biological articles which is there in the newspaper. So, normally like I don't have, you people know that, you people don't have much of time that you can explore, or you will go for the whole newspaper, I know. So, what I used to do, I used to tell my dad that please take out these kind of cuttings, those biological cuttings, and just keep me, or just tell me that these cuttings are there, and then I paste it on my scrapbook, so that whenever I get time and I just go through that, right. So, that is also important. Try to, even I do this, like right now also I have that scrapbook and I will keep on updating it. You should do that. Being a biology student, at least you all should be aware of all these things which is happening. So, all those Nobel Prizes, you know, the Nobel Prizes, one of the, you can say, renowned prizes in our industry. So, that also you should have an idea about. So, this year who got this Nobel Prize in case of the medicine. See, this is all about these are things which make you different from other. So, being a biology student, being a science student, at least this much you deserve, and this much work you have to do, right. So, let us proceed further. This is question number 179. Secondary air pollutants are formed by the interaction among the primary pollutants and are more toxic. Is it right or wrong? Yes, it is absolutely right. The pollutants which are present in the environment, the primary pollutants, these pollutants, when they react together, what they form is a secondary pollutant. For example, a very good example we have is a PAN, peroxyacetyl nitrate. And let us take an example, the reason which is given, DDT is a secondary air pollutant. Now, tell me one thing, DDT is a secondary air pollutant or not? How many of you know about it? It is not at all a secondary pollutant, it is just an insecticide which we normally spray in our agriculture field, the DDT, which is now banned in India, in our country. The reason is that DDT has a biomagnification property. So, it keeps on accumulating from one trophic level to another, that is the reason it is banned in our country. So, DDT is right or wrong? It is incorrect, and whereas assertion is correct. Again, we will go for which option? We will go for an option C in this case, right. Let us talk about the last question of your crash course. Now, photochemical smog formed in congested metropolitan cities mainly consist of. You all know sometimes in metropolitan cities like our city, like I belong to Delhi. So, in country like city like our, what happens is there is a formation of a small fog, like a dark sometimes smog formation occur. So, this is actually a secondary pollutant, because primary pollutants are, so many pollutants are there in our environment, and they are asking about the primary pollutant, that is a photochemical smog. How it is formed? This is formed because of the interaction of a primary pollutants. Those include the ozone, the peroxyacetyl nitrate and nitrogen oxide, right. So, without looking into this further, I'll click this option, I'll take this option, that is option A for 180. So, with this we have completed our crash course, the whole crash course is completed from my side. So please do your part, study hard, and also just maintain that consistency throughout. It's not like today you're studying and the 2 days you'll skip. Don't do that. Try to make a schedule. Please follow it. Don't waste your time here and there. Don't go for any of the other coaching institute notes just because you are left with a 1 month. Don't panic, in fact, and just focus on your studies. Give equal time to physics, chemistry and biology, and if you have a time you can go for the general knowledge. Obviously you have to, because you are appearing for the AIIMS exam, so general knowledge is also a part of it. So general knowledge at least you should have an idea about. For that, what you can do, you can buy a book. Books are there available, and I don't know, I'm not acquainted with the books of these general knowledge, which is important for your AIIMS, but once you will Google it, you will find certain good books. So one book is enough for that, and in fact what you have to do, stop revising any questions now. Don't do this. This was the maximum 180 questions you have completed, right? You have seen those sessions, 180 questions completed. Now what you have to do, just focus on your notes. Whatever you know, your notes are there, either your coaching notes or school notes, whatever notes you have, just focus on them, just read them carefully, and also your NCERT. If you will go for all of these 3 things, this is you can say a prime, I'll say it's a very important thing for you. If you follow all of these three of my instructions, I'm giving you 100% guarantee that you will qualify this particular exam, right? So all the best for your exam. Your exam is near. Take care of yourself. Thank you so much, students, for watching this crash course.